Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Bunkhouse. I'm your host, John. And on today's episode, we discuss the effects of military service, the struggles of transitioning, and how that affects our lives after service. We talk about how the loss of identity and the loss of purpose can be super overwhelming, and then the moment everything changed. If this sounds familiar, you don't want to miss out. Now let's get on to the next episode. All right, hey everybody, and welcome back to the Bunkhouse. I got Ira with me, did 20 years in the Air Force. Thank you for being with me today, Ira.
That's awesome, dude. Glad to be here, John. And I'm actually pretty stoked to be getting some stories out there, man. That's what we're all about, right?
Yeah, man. I think that's probably one of the biggest things I think I've learned is just getting together, sharing stories, talking about things, man. Like it makes it helps me at least
Hmm.
with sharing stories, and I think that's probably one of the big things is what I'm trying to do with the show is, hey, it's okay to talk about it. Let's share our stories because you're not alone in anything that you do. You may feel like it, but you're not.
Yeah. I'm kind of selfish. This is great therapy for me.
Yeah.
Helping all the vets for me is like a very healing therapeutic thing. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's added bonus, man.
It really is. All right. If you could, all right, give us a little bit of background on you. Why'd you join? Kind of why'd you join the Air Force? How long you were
Mhm.
in? Kind of what you did.
Yeah,
So yeah.
too easy, man. So I was born and raised in small, little, dusty agricultural town in Southern California. And really one of those locations where if you didn't have the right last name or you didn't work in the agriculture industry, you were going to be like putting the hot dogs on the rollers at 7-Eleven, right? And the way the story goes is my father and I were out in the front yard playing catch, and he goes, "Hey, man, you're a senior in high school. What are you going to do next?" I'm like, "No, I had no clue." I'm like, "No, thinking about joining the Air Force." And he goes, "Okay." Thought nothing else of it, right?
Yeah.
About this was like 2 or 3 days later. He comes home after work and he goes, "Hey man, get in the car. We're gonna go to grab something to eat," and blah blah blah. I was like, "All right." We get halfway there, and I'm like, "Where are we actually going first?" He goes, "Oh, I'm taking you to the recruiter. You said you wanted to join, right?" And I was like, I tried to fight him, be like, "No, I was just, but I was just like, I guess." So, I mean, I probably would have pulled the trigger on it anyway, but he expedited that process, and yeah, I did 10 months in the late enlistment program. So I knew I had that direction out of high school, which was good. I had that straight 2.0. Like, we're going to let you graduate just because you enlisted. Like, awesome. Awesome. So went in September 3rd of 97, got a job it's called air transportation. Basically, we process, load, unload, reprocess cargo. We do passenger services with baggage and the packs. And I did airdrops for about 5 years while I was in too, so that was pretty neat. Did that for 20 years, man. Bounced around the Pacific, bounced around Europe, a lot of good travels. One tour in the Midwest, three stateside total, but two of them were actually at Pope there in North Carolina where you're at. So
Okay.
yeah, loved it, man. Great job. It broke me, yeah, like bad. So we're still dealing with my last surgery, but dude, I had a blast, man. It was epic, dude. Like the times I had with the people I had them with, even some of the bad times, I'm like, "Hey, this guy's a real like douche," but we are having a beer together, so maybe he is cool.
Yeah.
So did that. Being in 4 years prior to 9/11, it was kind of odd. And I was at Pope before 9/11, and it was very
Yeah.
Sleepy Hollow kind of joint. 9/11 pops off when I was in Korea, and I get back to Pope after that tour, and night and day. I mean, we had all of the units in that region of Fayetteville deploying out, Air Force,
Yeah.
Army, Spec Op. This is just, and that started like the next 16 years of just straight mission, just running right into the fire sometimes. Um, did a couple deployments, one to Afghanistan, one to Iraq. Three tours in South Korea, one here at Scott, two at Pope, and then started off my career in Guam. And that kick started I'll just say it started a drinking problem, right? Throughout my life, throughout my
Yeah.
career. The late 90s was still that Wild West kind of feel to the military when it came to
Yeah.
drinking and stuff. So,
Yeah.
um, and I don't blame them for that. It was just one of those things that developed into a problem. So, um, yeah, but these days, off the sauce, been sober for a year and 2 months now. So,
Dude, that's
but it
awesome.
was great, man.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's not as hard as I thought it would be this time. Like
Yeah.
the last few times, it was this sucks. I'm gonna have just one beer. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah.
Now I'm not that guy. I'm like one beer after the other, maybe. I guess.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's a story, dude. Like great times, great people, dealing with some of the aftermath and all those good things, man. And retired officially 1 Jan of 2018 over
Nice, man.
in
That's
Germany with my wife.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said that you were in prior to and leading up to 9/11 happening. So
Mhm.
where were you when 9/11 happened?
I can tell you the exact location and what I was doing and who I was talking to.
Okay.
And the spooky thing is about 2 weeks prior to 9/11, a friend of mine, T-Bone, and I were out talking in the smoke pit. And it came out like, man, everyone remembers where they were when like Pearl Harbor or JFK, like what is our Pearl Harbor going to be? Like, what
Yeah.
are we going to remember every detail about? And 2 weeks later, 9/11 happened. And oddly enough, I was back on the patio smoking a Winston and drinking a Heineken beer, talking to my buddy T-Bone and my other buddy Bill. And a guy came downstairs. He's like, dude, 2 planes just hit the World Trade Centers. And then he runs upstairs, like major cliffhanger, right?
Yeah.
So our way up to the common area with the TV was maybe Cessnas and all that. And we get up there and it's like, by that time, the Pentagon had been hit. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
this is it. But yeah, I was on the back patio of the barracks, Osan Air Base, drinking a Heineken, unwinding from the day, and having a Winston cigarette because that's what I smoked back then. It was still the Winston Cup for NASCAR. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's in
but
North Carolina. That's a North Carolina tobacco, by the way.
yeah, you're welcome. But yeah, that was
Yeah.
it, man. That was our Pearl Harbor. That's our JFK.
Yeah.
Every detail, man, and it changed just like that.
Yeah. I mean, I was a junior in high school when it happened.
Hmm.
Um, I remember sitting in my junior year English class, and principal came on the intercom and says, "Hey, everybody, stop what you're doing. Turn on the TVs." Really didn't say anything outside of that, and we're all just like, "What's going on? Like, why are we just stopping in the middle of this? Like, at first thing in a school day, like, what's going on?" And yeah, put on TV, and like we just sat there the rest of the day. We didn't do anything else but kind of
Hmm.
watch the news, kind of watch it all pan out, and like what was going on. And that following year, um, I was ready to go, but God had different plans for me. I didn't end up going when I graduated high school.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, man, like it's funny the things that you remember that far back.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Like,
Yep. When it's tied to a big event like that, I mean, and you don't know it at the time that,
right.
oh, this is where I was in this. And I don't think I actually remembered any of those details for like 6 or 7 months.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember what triggered it. And I was like, man, I remember every single detail. I can tell you the names of the people. I can tell you what they were smoking. Like T-Bone smoked Moors. Remember Moors, those old long dog rocket cigarettes?
Yeah.
Um, and it was very odd because we were in South Korea, so we had North Korea always a threat.
Yeah.
Security forces, MPs, went to the end of the town that was outside the base and shut down all the bars and clubs, and we're just literally taking beer bottles out of people's hands, saying, "Hey, get back to the base."
Oh wow.
We ended up staying locked down for I want to say 36 days straight. You couldn't go off base at all.
Wow.
And it's not a deployment area. It was just that was the way. And the night
Yeah.
they opened it up, they were like, "You can go downtown, but you can't go into any buildings." So we
Then
went downtown just to get outside the gate, man. We were just walking up
yeah.
down the street smoking cigarettes, and it was a time, dude. And like I said, I got back to Pope, and everything from Fort Bragg to Charleston Air Force Base, and all the guard units and spec ops guys, they were all rolling out, and so we were deploying half our unit. And the other
Yeah.
half that wasn't deployed was getting ready, and half of that half was on leave before deploy. You know the deal, man.
Yeah.
And it really started our career field of air transportation being kind of in the limelight. Before that, we were known as the passenger terminal guys, or the guys who ship your household goods. After that, man, we were involved in a lot of shit, and a lot of bad backs, a lot of busted knees, and blown out neck discs and shoulder injuries.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm one of those all rolled into one. So head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And it really defined my career. And I should actually say this generation of veterans coming out of the global war on terror, it really shaped, what it means to be a veteran that faced that kind of war again.
Yeah.
And it was just really odd vibes as we started all rolling out. The veteran community started getting a lot more attention in certain ways. So it,
Yeah.
it was just odd. And when I retired, I missed all that, like all the deployments and TDYs and the camaraderie. And, I missed my stripes on my shoulder, and I missed my name tags and going in with being with the Bubbas at the shop. And I remember the day I retired, I woke up in the morning, told my wife, I'm like, this is great. Like, I have no plans today. This is going to be awesome. And, and I'll run this down real quick, man. Is I dropped the kid off at the bus stop like 3 days after I retired.
Yep.
I'd watched all the Marvel movies. I had taken a lot of naps, drank a lot of coffee, hit the gym, school, and about 9:30 that morning, I got done with my breakfast, had another cup of coffee, and after putting the dishes in the dishwasher, I kind of stood there like, I have no purpose for today. Like, what am I supposed to do? And that started almost an 8-year downward spiral. Highs and lows to be sure, but a lot of lows.
Yeah.
And it was a dark place sometimes, man. It really was. To go from that kind of heavy work environment, and we were a small knit career field. 6,000, I think, active duty,
Yeah.
and we all knew everyone. And the problem was, is I still knew people that were stationed at Ramstein. My wife was stationed there, so I was a dependent, trophy husband, and she stayed over there for another 2 years. And I would go, hey man, you gonna have lunch? Yeah, sure, I'll be on base. And after lunch, I'd be like, hey, you guys want to go do something? They're like, we have to go to work, dude. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So that started that whole thing, man. The loss of identity, the loss of purpose. Who was I? I went in when I
Yeah.
was 18. I had no idea. And so that part kickstarted, like I said, almost 8 years, man, of dealing with all that stuff.
Yeah. So what was the transition itself like? Like coming from like even as probably the war died down, kind of
Mhm.
tailing in at 2018 timeframe, still probably high tempo for you guys.
Oh yeah.
Always doing stuff, always people on the move. There's always gear on the move.
Mhm.
Like, what was that like going from fast paced, always putting into a mission to just abruptly stopping and not, and just kind of making up your own day?
It was odd, man. Like, how semis, they got that Jake brake, right?
Yeah.
And they could be going 50, 65 miles an hour, and then they hit that, and it's like that. It was exactly like that. That's the only way I can explain it. To almost a dead stop.
Yeah.
And the problem I had with that was up here mentally, I had a lot of stuff going on that I didn't know at the time. And I just kept, trying new hobbies, trying to pursue this, getting my degree in this, or I'm going to go work at the Starbucks on Bay. It was just bouncing around a lot, no direction,
Yeah.
drifting around. It was rough. I'm not going to lie, because high paced career field. And like you said, not only were we dealing with the wars that were still going on with Gwat, we were still dealing with the Lebanon crisis. When Benghazi happened, I actually had to download those human remains of those guys that were left in Benghazi and escort them off the plane and store them in our facility and get them ready to be moved forward. And stuff like that that takes all the stuff out of you, man.
Yeah.
Um, but it was still a mission, and you still had that. I'm going to wake up at 5. I'm going to be in the shop at 6:30. I'm gonna have this coffee, this routine, lunch, gym, come home, all gone. Like,
Yeah.
I missed every bit of it, and it was rough, dude. It really was.
Yeah, like, I think you really hit it, is like the routine that you get while in. I tell everybody, especially if they've never been in the military. Some of my friends back home or just people I interact with, like being in the Marine Corps was the easiest job I ever had. Was it
Mhm.
mentally and physically taxing? Absolutely was. But as far as like building a routine and knowing exactly what you needed to do, when you needed to do it, and how you needed to do it, easiest job I ever had, hands
Oh,
down.
most
Like
definitely.
I didn't join directly out of high school. Like I'd already had a couple of jobs and I wasn't the most work ethic type person. Like I didn't do very well at work,
Mhm.
and Marine Corps was actually the longest job I ever had to date even. Um, but yeah, like it was the easiest, like you said, getting into that routine. And like you were saying too, like even though kind of those harder things that you have to do, like you said, with those folks coming back, like the bodies coming back from Benghazi, like
Mhm.
that's I couldn't imagine what that was like. But I do know a little bit how that feels. My one of my deployments to Afghanistan, we had a KIA pretty early in deployment, and I was part of the detail that put his body on to the bird to send him home.
Mm,
Right.
mhm.
And you just have to bottle that up, keep pushing on because you still have a mission to complete.
Yeah.
Like you don't have like you don't have time. And I don't think we truly realize how much that affects us until after there's no routine to keep us busy.
Mhm. Yep.
Like,
It's like once we don't have that mission keeping everything together and that
yeah,
Pandora's box explodes open, it's one thing after the other. And you know, talking about moving human remains and whatnot. One of the reasons I got a lot of depressive states was I worked in an airlift coordination cell. That part of our job was to coordinate the airlift for the GIs coming home and the transfer cases. And that starts to get to you, dude. Like you recognize the names, and then you see,
yeah,
because you see them in the Stars and Stripes, or you see them in the Air Force News. And then fatal mistake was googling a guy or like looking him up on Facebook, like, and that actually about 8 years later, come to find out was like the worst thing I could have done. And it was a part of the job, and some of the stuff you had to do. And if you had to
yeah,
find info on someone, you had to do what you had to do. But I started having nightmares because we only coordinated to get them to Dover, Delaware, and then mortuary affairs would take hold and
right,
run the rest of the process. And I was actually diagnosed. Part of my depression diagnosis was because I was having these nightmares where it was like these big things just kind of shifting around, and I couldn't really understand what they were,
yeah,
and they were saying something to me. I was like, I'd wake up and be like, what the deuce. And after about 2 or 3 months of that, it started getting worse and worse, and they explained it that it was a moral injury because that's not something I believe should happen. We shouldn't be going and dying and being transported home like sometime closed casket or whatever.
right,
So that was a moral injury for me, and it was a big one. And they explained, they're like, yeah, you feel guilty because you did not escort them all the way home. You escorted them to Dover, or I'm sorry, coordinated the airlift to Dover. But after that, they took over. They were like, you did not complete your mission. And I was like, okay, I get where you're going with this. And it was the typical, we're going to put it in your records. Here you go.
yeah,
Uh, and that caused, again, that Pandora's box when that got opened. After I realized I had no identity and purpose, it
yeah,
it it really shit the bed at that point, man.
yeah. I mean, I think especially if for a lot of us, like at least for me, like I don't know why, but whenever I transitioned out, and mine was kind of unexpected too. It's like so, like for me, I had to go through a med board process because I had like back issues, nerve
Mm,
issues, muscular issues, and it wasn't my choice to get out. But you know, and so to be honest, like I tried to separate myself and really completely detach myself from that identity without
mm,
establishing a new one. And that was the worst thing I could have probably done because those first 2 years, like you said, you just kind of you start down a downward slope and it just gets worse and worse
yep.
and worse until like I don't think I what I would consider rock bottom, in my opinion. Again, that's just how I look at things. Like I didn't think it was my rock bottom, but I think it was pretty close. Um, and it took about a year for me to get back to where I am now. And like I said, I retired in 2022, so it's been about almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years this upcoming May. So from 2022 to 2024 was a hard transition. Like that, it took
Mhm.
2 years for me for me to fully transition. I know that happens for a lot of us.
Mhm.
Um, you said you retired in 2018. Like, how was the post service life, and how long did it take you to get to where you felt like you had found a new identity or found a new purpose?
Oh, that's an easy one, man. That's a softball. But I will say it was, oh, man, the whole 8 years was just highs and lows. Um, After realizing I was in that, it just kind of broke me, dude. Like
Yeah,
my body actually started getting affected by it. My demeanor, man, I was diagnosed as bipolar basically because I was told, hey, go get help or else. I'm like, oh
yeah,
shit, okay. And they're like, yeah, you got bipolar disorder. I'm like, well, that might explain a lot. Went to college, had a job with the federal service for about a year. Wasn't my bag. Worked as a military contractor. Got called up to join a major consulting firm. For about 3.5 years, I worked there. But every single time I had a job or a school or something going on, it just
yeah,
felt wrong. Like it did not fit. Um, and it was, there were times I was looking at myself in the mirror going, dude, why are you putting on khakis and a fucking necktie? Like, this is not you.
yeah.
Um, and it just happened that way. And I thought I was doing all the things. I was, going through the VA for my stuff and, you know, a little bit of counseling here and there, but they were never the right fit. None of the jobs fit. None of the conditions were getting any better mentally or physically. Emotionally, I was drained some days. And in true bipolar fashion, there were days where I was zooming around like the Roadrunner, dude, just manic as can be. And really, the moment I actually cracked into what it is I do now, running the podcast with my brother, my bro host, Chaz, is October 16th. The major consulting firm I worked for sends me an email. All it says is uh, human relations meeting. Okay.
Okay.
Like, so I look up and there it is. It's HR at Deloitte.com. I'm like, I Google it real quick and they're like, yeah, just hit the unemployment lines, man. Like, just get you the
Oh,
bell and go stand out in front of the BX and collect change. And for 30 seconds, man, I was like, this is horrible. Like, I was devastated, dude. Like, it had the big salary and the perks and all that stuff. And I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. Wait a minute. Like, do I have to have an idea? Like, I'm 46 years old. Like, I don't really have to do anything if I don't want to. I'm
yeah.
going to help veterans. Like, I'm going to find some way to give back to my veteran community so that they don't go through what I have. And the next day, October 17th, the funny part of getting fired is I almost pretty much fired myself. I log in, I get into the meeting, and dude, I'm stoked, man. Like, I'm like so excited to be terminated. It's not even funny. And the HR individual comes on. She's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, I'm fucking awesome. She goes, I was like, I'm getting fired. This is great. She's like, okay. She goes, well, if I get emotional, which these things always make me emotional, I will, we'll get through it. And I'm like, you're in the wrong job, I guess.
Yeah.
Your job is to fire people and it makes you cry. But she was super cool about it. But about halfway through, she said something. And it was like, she did that. And I'm like, okay, whoa. Pump the brakes. And I think a little bit of my senior NCO kind of thing came out.
Yeah.
Maybe I did knife hander. I don't know. And we sat down like, hey, it's okay. I was like, I'm happy about this. Like, this is the best day of my year. Let's talk about my pension. Let's talk about my PTO getting sold back. So like the last half of the meeting, I pretty much walked myself through it
Yeah.
and got off of there and called my bro host Chaz. I was like, dude, sure as shit, I got fired, man. He goes, well, what are you going to do? Like, I don't know. I'm going to do something with veterans. And about 3 days later, got back on the horn with him. I said, dude, we got this thing that I started. I bought my own LLC called Bravo Mission and the name for that comes from, hey, secondary mission, basically. Like, this is my next mission in life. This is my next chapter, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And he and I had always wanted to do a podcast because we're just we're so closely related. And he was like, dude, let's do our podcast, man. We've been talking shit about this podcast for like 9 years. I was like, sweet. And let's do it on the veteran transition struggles. He's like, yep. I was like, but we're going to talk about the personal, not the personnel issues. He goes, yep. And it was like that moment in Step Brothers, right? It was like,
Yep.
did we just become best friends?
Yep.
And on that day, I think it was like on October 20th or 21st, Bravo Mission Radio was born to
That's
do
awesome,
nothing but help
dude.
veterans. We don't talk politics. We don't talk, we don't get dramatic. That's when I found my true purpose, man. My purpose met my passion. And the next thing I knew, I was uploading videos to YouTube and Facebook and, getting thumbs up and like it's just been crazy, man. And we said this before, it feels weird because it's almost selfish that it's therapeutic for us to do
Yeah.
what we're doing here on this medium. And it's like every time you hear someone though say, hey, I went through this, it validates us. But then you hear back from people like, oh man, I was going through the same thing. And it validates them as well. And it's just
Yeah.
moving forward because, and you know this well enough, in the veteran community, refinding your purpose and your passion and who you are. A lot of times when we get out of the military, there's a friend of ours, actually, he runs another podcast, Adam. He's got some piece of literature out right now. I think it's called the golden ticket fallacy, that when you get out, you have all these job offerings and it's going to
Yeah.
be pie in the sky and all that. It's not. Now,
No.
if you've got enough rank or if you've got enough hustle or the right credentials or whatever, yeah. If you're average Joe Blow dude coming out or, average female coming out, it's rough. It really is. And everything is so disjointed in the veteran community in ways of support. There's not really a way to say, hey, I'm going to go with this guy here and this guy here. We've all decided, podcasters and like our buddies who are coaches and all that stuff, we're forming something right now that we're not going to be in silos anymore.
Yeah.
Veterans don't deserve that. There's enough of us out there that need the help. We just need to align efforts. And like I said, this is my passion, which became my purpose. And one of my guests, he's a Air Force veteran, Todd Johnson. He said it best. He goes, your purpose is out there. You just got to find it or let it
Yeah.
find you, one of the two. And I couldn't top that. So we signed off the show. I was like, damn, dude, like, you didn't have to come and hit me in the fields with that, But these days, man, every day is day one. That's my new mantra, dude. Like I wake up in the morning now and it's like, what can I do to make the show better? What can I do to
Yeah.
connect with people who need like finances, right? And through serendipity, I'll, be on LinkedIn and like, here's a financial guy who was a veteran. Hey, what's going on, dude? That's how I met you. And that's how I met all these other podcasters. Like the network we have out there as veterans is so vast. The problem is we don't believe that because everything's so siloed. And on our show with Chaz and I, we always preach it, man. Like there's veterans out there that you can talk to. Like there's groups, there's sessions. It doesn't have to be through the official channels. Someone might encourage you to go through those channels, but if you're feeling down, and that is where my passion lies, man. It's my purpose, and it's like the best Bravo mission ever.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. Like, I kind of do the same thing a little bit for me. Like, I actually started my podcast when I was still active duty.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I started back in 2021, kind of mid to late 2021. And I originally started the bunkhouse to talk to other IT and cybersecurity veterans, like they were in that career field,
Mm-hmm.
kind of give some advice, transitioning, getting into the workforce after military service. Um, Even if that's not what they did in the military, but that's what they were doing now after
Mm-hmm.
they had gotten out and everything. And we would kind of talk mental health here and there if it came up. Most of the time, it was more around like burnout, like just burning out at work and just
Mm-hmm.
mental fatigue just from like always overdoing it and working yourself kind of down. Um, and then around after my med board stuff started really kicking off post COVID and everything, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna start a second session and I'm gonna focus the second session. And I called them sessions because I was going to do both the IT side and this other second session where I was going to be focusing more on mental health kind of at the
Mhm.
same time. So I only released one episode a month. So what's two episodes a month shouldn't be that bad. And so I'll do them both. I do one episode each a month. So I call them sessions. I actually only got one of the sessions actually recorded and published. So and it was actually my very last episode before I took about a 2-year break.
Mhm.
Um, and it was my first ever episode of focusing strictly on mental health. And and then around that same time, I was going through some of my own personal stuff. And that's really when I started getting what I would consider close, but not quite to a rock bottom and like in my own journey.
Mhm.
Um, and that was the whole reason behind taking my break is because of where I was at mentally and like personally and emotionally. Um, but yeah, I mean, I wanted to do the podcast because I thought that was one of the few ways I could stay connected to the veteran community and still give back, you know? Um, but again, it worked out okay. I love doing it. And that's the reason I'm bringing it back now. But again, this time I'm only focusing on mental health because, like you said, it that's what we need more of that because yeah, there's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of organizations that preach and project like all this stuff about mental health and wanting to help veterans, but
Yeah.
there's also a lot of them that do this, and that's all they are is a front, and that's it. They
Mhm.
just like to be in the public limelight. They say they helping veterans, and when you actually like kind of peel back the curtain a little bit, you notice they only do like high optic opportunities,
Yeah.
right?
I call those big box foundations.
Yeah, yeah. They do the ones that are gonna get them the screen time, like, on the news and, like, all this other stuff because of
Mhm.
this very specific and very tragic case, but that's the only time that they really do any true engagement, right?
Mhm.
Um, and it's kinda like what you guys are doing with Bravo Mission Radio, man. It's like getting back to the grassroots and having real unfiltered conversations.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
And in my opinion, I've found that that actually does a lot more than going to see a counselor because I know whenever I was going through counseling, I still do every now and again, but I don't do it as formal as I used to. Because for me, formal counseling really didn't work for me.
Mhm.
Like, like for me, it was almost like I was going in to check a box and hit milestones that didn't feel achievable half of the time. You
Yeah.
know what I
They
mean?
were their milestones too, not
Yeah,
your own.
exactly. Yeah, it's milestones they set for you for your growth that they think you should be on, but it never
Mhm.
really did. None of it was ever successful. Um, so I kind of I found my own, like you said, finding your own purpose and way of doing those things. I started journaling, and then that journaling turned into like some very loosely poem writing. You know,
Nice.
um, and matter of fact, like my last guest I published back in 2023? No, 2024 now? Shoot, it's been that long. Um, he actually is a published poet, former Marine, former grunt Marine, and now he's published a book. Like he does a lot of stuff like that too. And like he uses his writing and poetry as an outlet and kind of
Mhm.
use it for his that's his therapy, and he shares his story with everybody and anybody that wants to listen. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. You see it on Facebook every once in a while. It's a meme, and it says, if you want to hear the truth, join a veteran after he's like 6 beers deep.
Yes.
Like,
100%.
and part of that is like why we a lot of times don't go to some folks for the mental health. It's because they don't have that street cred, right? Veterans,
Yeah.
we are a fickle bunch.
Yep.
Like if you've not been there on the flight line with me, or if you've not, been walking down the same street in downtown Baghdad or whatever, like don't pretend you know me.
Yeah.
But when we just get, like you said, the grassroots approach, man. Like right now, we could be sitting around smoking a Marlboro, dude, just
Yep.
drinking Diet Coke because I don't drink anymore. But like this is more of what veterans need is just this
Yeah.
back and forth. Get the poison out, man. If you need to do it more than once, cool, fine. Because I'm gonna need that one day, and I'm hoping you're there for me too. So we are fickle, but sometimes we just need to, okay, sir, you need to stand down because this is not my timeline. This is yours, and I'm not going to get better because
Yeah.
you say so.
Right.
And just build your own timeline, veterans. Find your goals, find a mentor, listen in on podcasts, listen to the stories. There's a 2-star general. He's going to be on our show here shortly. And he's got a book out called The Bipolar General.
Okay.
And his story, I'm going to let him tell it on the podcast. Nice little cliffhanger. But he went through some stuff, and as a 2-star, was basically told, do this or else.
Yeah.
And he tells about his whole journey, and I'm like, as an '08, to come out like that and say, hey, I have bipolar disorder, when usually it's like your staff sergeant, E6, E7 types.
Yeah.
Like, this dude put it all on the line, and nothing but great things to say about the guy.
No,
So
that's awesome, dude. Like,
yeah.
because we all know like the mental health and like stuff going on. It's very it doesn't pick and choose who it
Nope.
wants to. It doesn't stay away from certain ranks or specific like MOSs. Like it doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
It's and for for me, a lot of my growth came from finally accepting where I was at in my life and in my journey. And once I finally accepted that, then I could actually show and feel the growth on the other side of it,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Um, because it's easy to be like, "No, I don't have a problem. Oh, there's nothing wrong with me. That's just who I am," kinda, thing. But, like, I I don't know how you feel about that, but, like, did you come to a point to where you felt like you kind of had to accept it or finally did accept it? And was there, like was there a moment that you can, like, think back to and say, "This is how I was," and then you started feeling that upward journey finally on the other side?
Oh yeah, October 17th, the day I got fired. That is the exact day I finally burned. I burned all my boats, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I'm working with nothing but veterans now. I'm not going back to corporate America. Um, that was day one, dude. Same as today was day one. And that was the actual turn. Now, I had several times I was like, oh man, I got this cool job. This is going to be me until I retire
Yeah.
at 65. But I would, 2 months into it, be like, this fucking sucks,
Yeah.
like, so yeah, October 17th, man. And every day since then, like I said, when I've woken up and my feet hit the floor, it's like, it's time to get rolling on this and kick the tires, light the fires, whatever kind of movie quote you want to use. But, Chaz and I, my bro host on the podcasts that we have, we both say that this is what we're both meant to be doing.
Yeah.
And he runs his own coaching business, called Frame Shaping. He does executive and leadership coaching.
Okay.
So he's got the street cred on that side,
Yeah.
and comes over, and he's a great mentor to me, free of charge, unless he sends me a bill next week or something. But when we find our passion, our purpose have aligned and created our new mission, and then we find those folks we want to team up with, and then we find all those, ex Joes. We all want to build something bigger for the next generation of veterans and the current generation of veterans.
Yeah.
That it's sky's the limit for me, dude. We've got the shows. I've got a new sense of identity and purpose. I've changed all the taglines on all my LinkedIn accounts, and describe yourself. Boat burner. That's literally what I put on my duty title on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Burner of boats
Nice.
and podcaster.
Nice.
And so it's like, I was in the military. Used to, it was like, oh, were you military? Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
And you go into the old stories and all that. Nowadays, they're like, oh, were you in the service? I'm like, yeah, I've been out for 8 years, and yeah, I did some things.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you want to? No, I don't want to expand on it. Sorry, just bring up the order and put my fries in the bag, man. So,
Yep.
dude, like, to get back around to it, man. Day one was getting fired. Best day. And for a lot of folks, I've heard the same thing happens. It's just like a switch.
So it's funny that you say that because as you're talking about like your day one being the day you got fired, I instantly started thinking, I was like, when I was in my downward trajectory, it was about a year in after my retirement. I'd been almost been retired almost a year at this point, and is when I was at probably at my lowest, in my opinion. Um, a buddy of mine, Bill, I used to work with in the Marine Corps also, he calls me up and says, "Hey, John, I got this opportunity for you." He's like, "I work for this private equity company, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "I just got approved to expand my team. You're the first person I thought about. How would you come to work and like do this thing?" I was like, "Dude, that's awesome. I would love to." He's like, I had a job at the time. But again, like you said, like I didn't really have a purpose. Like I went to
Yeah.
work for a company that did a lot of support for the Department of the Navy. So like it was an easy kind of role to slide into because coming from Marine Corps, I still understood what IT stuff happened in the Navy because we did a lot of the same things. And so it was super
Mhm.
easy. But what I learned of being like on that side of the coin, of being the contractor, you can't just take initiative. Like you have to actually have explicit direction, explicit tasking
Yeah.
before you can really do anything. And so there was a lot of time where I didn't have any real good direction on what I was supposed to be doing.
Mhm.
And I got very bored and I have my mind has to stay active. Like I have to be challenged all the time, or that will happen to me again at some point. If I'm not like that all the time, I am going to get into a low point again because that's my kryptonite is staleness. If I'm
Mhm.
not active and not always doing something, like that is a bad spot for me to be in. And I know that. So I find ways to keep myself entertained, find ways to keep myself active and my brain going. And he just happened to call me and he's like, "Yeah," it's like, "Absolutely, dude." Like went in for the interview. I felt like the interview went okay. I didn't think it was like outstanding, but he told me I crushed it. HR said I crushed it. And like within a month after that, I had started and I've actually been working for that same company ever since.
Oh,
Like
nice.
that's the company I currently work for. Um, and I actually I enjoy what I do. I like doing my day job because again, it keeps me active. It keeps me always learning something. I've learned so much being there. Um, but again, I get to work from home, so I get to see my kids every
Mhm.
day. I get to see my wife every day. You know, it's like actually get to be a part of their life and actively be a part of their life, you know? And so like that was a big difference too, is coming out of the military. Like
Mhm.
I'm sure you experienced that too, going from being the active duty, like because you guys were dual military, you said, right? You and your wife dual military.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
then
she was a supply sergeant, I was working airdrops at the time.
yeah. So I definitely couldn't imagine what that was like. My wife, she was stay-at-home mom my entire time we've been married, still is even today. Um, and just that transition and that change in dynamic and like our relationship completely shifted and changed, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
It's a huge, huge, huge shift. When just being dual mill is one thing, but, it's a little bit more understandable, I think, because I went through mine, and in the middle of mine, she started going through hers.
yeah,
And I was in no condition to, like, and I really hate saying that, but not be as supportive as I could have. But looking back at it now, I was like, I was dealing with my own stuff. She was dealing with hers.
yeah.
But in your situation, if your wife doesn't understand what's going through your head sometimes, that's got to be a strain, dude. Like I couldn't imagine that part.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like when you try to tell stories that are a little twisted, but you find the humor in it with, like,
Mhm.
buddies from back home that never joined the military, but it's like that, you know? Because 'cause you're right, because 'cause they've never experienced any of things. They've had some experiences with things that like me being gone and coming back like that, like those types of things coming back from deployment and everything, but that's a completely different side of the coin for them than what I experienced when coming back from those things.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it was a challenge, and we work on it every single day still. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's because I've also come to find out like healing's not an overnight thing. It's not, hey, I do these things and I check these boxes, I'm fixed, I'm healed. Healing is a lifelong journey. That's something you have to do the rest of your life because if not, you're going to fall right back into where your low spot was, in my opinion. That's how I
Mhm.
look at it. Not a professional, not a mental health professional or anything like that, but like that's what I've come to realize is you can't just check a box and do these things and be like, oh, well, I'm fixed. Crisscross applesauce. I'm good. I'm going to go on about my life. Like that's not how it works, you know?
Yeah.
Um, like with that, like I think self-care is a big thing, you know?
Almost definitely. Yeah.
And I'm curious, what does your self-care look like today? Because I know we kind of took care of ourselves when we were active duty and everything, but like, what does that look like for you today? And what you've learned through your growth since retirement and today? What does your self-care look like, and kind of how do you preserve that for yourself?
Dude, I spend like 3 or 4 minutes at the edge of the bed when I first wake up, crack all the joints and everything, and uh, you know, get the dog out of his kennel, and I enjoy my coffee, dude. Like the quiet you talked about, I actually am starting to enjoy that quiet. Those moments when it's like just me and my wife watching a TV show.
Yeah.
Huge amounts of peace, right? Walking the dog. Like there's times that from now on I don't wear headphones when I walk the dog anymore. Just
Nice.
because I just want to be in that moment.
Yeah.
So my self-care is pretty much just, and I don't want to say doing whatever I want. It's just being allowed to be me and pursuing my peace, which is also, as you said with healing, peace is also a destination. It's never the end game, right?
Right.
You're always going to be working on it. You're always going to keep moving forward towards it. But man, that quiet, if you know how to re-engineer it to enjoy the quiet, brother, it's amazing. We deserve it. We deserve our quiet. We deserve our peace. Been places, done things that next door neighbor Joe Blow who works at the hardware store is never going to know.
Right.
But dude, the quiet when you actually sit back and go, I don't have to be clean shaven and able to run a 2 mile in 13 minutes. Yeah. Like what we got going on here, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, just enjoy the quiet, man. It takes practice,
Yeah.
but dude, once you get to enjoy that quiet and that peace and enjoy the small things, dude, like that first taste of that very first cup of coffee every morning. Oh, I used to use that to take my meds. Now that waits for the second drink. Like that first sip of that morning coffee, that right there, man, sets the tone for the day, dude. I just sit there and I reflect and just like that. Just
Yeah.
like that right there, dude. Just let it be. Self-care, I do that. I walk a lot. Bad joints, bad back, everything. Just had a spine surgery last week. So that's been fun. But just being me, just working on my mental state, which helps my physical, and it's all cyclical. It's all what's the word I'm like, synergistic or ecosystems or whatever. Just however you want to describe it. And just one flows into the other. We call them the four well springs of, the different emotional, physical, I can't remember right now. I'm going 100 miles an hour right now. I had a Red Bull before this, but we should all invest in Rippets, by the way.
Oh
Um,
yeah. No kidding.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So it's just a journey, dude. And it's either going to teach you to enjoy life. It's going to knock you down, dude. It's not pre-planned. Like, oh, this is all pie in the sky now. But when you have those moments to look forward to, the quiet moments, just watching the dog, like do
Yeah.
that weird undogging thing by rolling around in the grass. I didn't realize that. I watched that for like 10 minutes one day. And a little white dog out in the middle of the yard just having at it. And I'm like, oh, dang, I've been watching this for 10 minutes, just enjoying it, dude. We deserve peace. We deserve quiet. And we deserve to do that on our own timeline. And so one of my biggest self-care things is I just take my time with things.
Yeah.
Like if there's a deadline, like a hard deadline, like it's going to affect me getting, the help I need or, getting the next check or whatever, I take care of it. But all the other stuff, man, it's strange how we perceive emergencies and priorities in the military.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's the old saying? If everything's a priority, nothing's a priority.
100%.
Yeah. I don't do that anymore. It's like, hey, you going to do this? Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I will. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe. No, maybe if I don't, you'll forget.
Yeah.
It's just taking the time, dude, to enjoy life. Even when you get the bad days, I'm having a bad day, but it's been like 30 days since I had one. Maybe I'm due.
Yeah.
And I'm not big on isolation, but was it like 2 days ago? I'd just gotten out of the hospital and it was like, I just needed a day to myself to like just sit in my bed and watch CSI and drink my Fresca. And that's what I did. And my wife was so totally cool with it.
Nice.
And I came out on the other side of that day about, 8 or 9 hours later and was like, and just like that, it's over. So self-care is just that. I take care of myself first just so that I can help others, not even just veterans, but my family and talking with family and friends. And the reconnections I'm getting out of like putting all this stuff out there and doing the podcast and the social media work, people I haven't talked to in like 20 some odd years are sending me text messages now. And I'm like, new phone, who's it? Who's,
Yeah.
like, hey man, it's so-and-so. Like I had a guy who just hit me up. I haven't seen him for 27 years.
Oh,
Never
wow.
talked to him since he left the island, right? We were stationed on Guam together. He left, never said another word to each other. He hit me up the other day. We're having a conversation now. Like, hey man, what you been doing? I've been doing this. It's like, did we leave Guam? Are we still there? What's going on? Just in enjoying the small things, dude. That's it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I think you're right, especially, like, coming from the military, you're always like, as soon as you're given a task, like, I need to get it done now. It's like
Mm-hmm.
everything's always seems like it's an emergency and needs to get done as soon as possible. And I definitely took that mentality into my first job, which then turned into not really doing anything because there was no direct guidance or real direct tasking. So I didn't know what to do at that point. And then when I first started working for the current company I work for, that's exactly how it was. Like turnaround time quick on everything. Hey, I need to get this done. Cool, I got you. Literally get it to them by the end of the day. And they're like, bro, how'd you do this? Like, how did you get this done so fast? I was like, I don't know, I just did it.
Yeah.
It's like,
There's more work, by the way.
yeah, exactly. Right. And so like
Mm-hmm.
that burnout would start happening again. And I'm I'd probably say in the last year, so through 2025 and I'm still working on it even this year. Like I'm finally to a point now to where I'm not as reactive as I used to be, but in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Like my thing now is like I work from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. and I only work from 6 a.m. because my boss and some of my teams out of the UK. So that gives me more overlap with their time zone. So I actually can collaborate with them a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But my hard stop now is 3 p.m. As soon as 3 p.m. Shoot, actually, there's sometimes if it's 2:15, I'm like, if I start something, I'm gonna work past my 3 o'clock. Yeah, I'll just start it tomorrow. Right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's like it can wait till tomorrow. It's not an emergency. We're not getting
Yeah.
shot
I'm
at.
taking my lunch
Nobody's
break
dying.
now. Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like nobody's getting shot at because I didn't do this one thing at 2:15. Right. Like it gets wait till tomorrow. So I finally got myself into that mindset finally, and I'm comfortable with it.
Mhm.
Because I remember when I first started that journey into that kind of
Well, yep.
like
I know exactly
territory.
where you're going, man.
Yeah,
Same,
like
same, same,
like
same, and different.
I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna wait and do this tomorrow. It's fine. And I'd clock off of work, 30 minutes to go by. I was like, and I probably should have finished that. Like instantly, my mind goes right back to work, right back on that task. And I'm like, yeah, I probably should have did that. Next thing I know, I'm checking my phone. I'm like, I'll just do like 2 seconds. I'll just update one little quick thing. And that would turn
Mhm.
into like an hour and a half worth of stuff. Right. And it just that's a stress that doesn't need to be there,
Mhm.
and I I think that's part of the self-care piece too, is being able to identify those stressors and the triggers like that, because that's a trigger for me. It's like if I start feeling like I need to be very like action oriented and like very quickly actioning things, I need to reassess myself and readjust how I'm doing business. Right. Because again,
Mhm.
that's like me being in a stealth state. If I start getting to where I'm overly and hyperactively reacting and doing work, it's just as bad if I'm not doing work at all, because
Yeah.
I get sucked into that mentality, and I it affects outside of work. It affects my time with my family. It affects how I react and interact with my family and friends. And like I think that's probably a big one for me is just becoming self-aware of those types of things, you
Mhm.
know, and understanding when you need to start dialing things back, and I think that's part of the self-care is starting to
Yep.
realize those things about yourself, you know?
Yeah, and to your point, talking about like with your networks, like your family and your friends and your vet fam, your
Yep.
tribe. Dude, if you're not running, I'm not saying at peak performance, but if you're not on a level where you feel you need to be helped, they'll understand. All you
Yeah.
gotta do is say, hey man, I'm having a bad day. Daddy needs to just take some me time, or hey, boss, I need to take a day of sick leave. I know it's last minute. I'm gonna do it anyway, so you might as well approve it.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in that. And just communication. Just let them know, hey, I'm having a bad day. I don't want you impacted by this. I'm just gonna be in my room, or I'm gonna be out in the garage, or I'm gonna go, hang out at the VFW or something, or just taking that step back and sometimes looking at a task and going, like you said, is anyone gonna get hurt? Like if this doesn't get done, like this spreadsheet they want,
Yeah.
someone gonna get hit with an airplane? Like, what's gonna happen? Do it later. But we're
Yeah.
we're hardwired. We're programmed for that.
Yeah.
And it's once we unwire that, which is its own process altogether, again, sky's the limit because we had that potential when we came in, and then it just kind of got, here's what you do, here's what you wear, here's who you hang out with, and that's going to be your life for the next 4 to 40 years.
Yeah.
Then you get out and it's like, I don't know how to be Ira because I was never Ira.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a process, and it's a great trip, man. I'm loving it, dude. It's like all the whole self-discovery thing has been great. Like I started watching WWE wrestling again. Like,
Nice.
it was sporadic for a while, and my bro host Chaz and I, we're huge Undertaker fans, right?
Yeah.
So like literally when he retired, we were both like crossing ourselves and the prayers and everything. It was horrible. I started getting into that again. I started getting back into motorcycles, but that's a thing of the past now. But a lot of times, man, it's literally just sitting and listening to Waylon Jennings. Like I went into a meditative state the other day, listening to outlaw country music from the 70s. Had it
Nice.
nice and toned down because I just wanted to relax. I looked up and it was like 2 hours later. I didn't even realize I was just sitting there, kind of just drifting around. And so it doesn't have to come in the form of yoga or, cannabis or anything like that, or the
Yeah.
pharmaceutical stuff, which don't even get me started on that. But sometimes it just takes just listen to some Waylon Jennings or some Linkin Park, or I don't know, some of the new bands. I'm showing my age. Like I don't know none of the new kid stuff. Like
Yeah, I don't
my
know any of
kid's
the
got
new
a
stuff
flag
really
in his
either.
room. I'm like, who's that guy? He told me the name. I'm like,
Yeah.
who the fuck is Bad Bunny? Like, who is this guy? I've never heard of this guy. And he's on the halftime show. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, just find your thing, do it, and don't be ashamed of it, man. Like, it's our time. We're veterans. We have to remember what we did. We have to celebrate our service, and we have to take parts of that with us, like our work ethic, but we have to dial that down
Yeah.
because my work ethic got me to the rank of E7 or E9 or O6. But now, as a father or a husband, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And we don't realize that till we're knee deep into all of that. And then we have to rebuild. And the rebuild can be fun. It's hard effing work, man. But when you accomplish, I recorded a podcast today on the bunkhouse with John Cole. What else did you do today? I don't know. I ate a sandwich my wife got at the local grocery store and played with the dog. How'd that make you feel? Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You know? Uh, so that's where I'm at with all those things, and my mental health is doing a lot better these days. Physically, I can tell the difference of this spine surgery I just had last week with the one I had in 2016, which was another spine fusion. The doctor said you need to take at least a year off from PT.
Okay.
And this is an Army neurosurgeon.
Yeah.
He goes, your case was so bad. He goes, but I can only give you 4 weeks. Like, you're saying it takes a year to heal, but you can only give me 4 weeks. He goes, yeah, we used to give you 6, but the hospital admin now says 4. And I'm like, even 6 for a major back surgery. What
That's
are we doing
insane.
here? And laying near in the hospital this past week, man, I was like, I got to get up and I got to get this and I got to go do this for the podcast and this for the kid and the wife. And all of a sudden I realized, I'm like, number one, my vet fam is going to understand if I can't do an episode because I'm literally getting screws put into my back.
Yeah.
My wife's cool with it. She's a veteran. She's like, yeah, just go get your surgery and call me when you need to come home. Kids were understandable. So it was like, why am I thinking about rushing into all of these things that need to be done when I can not? And I can actually now take the full year for that bone to fuse and to relearn how to walk and adjust to the nerve damage and all that. Like, I don't have to rush into PT.
Yeah.
I don't have to rush into putting on steel-toed boots and pushing cargo. And it's awesome, dude, to be able to say I can now take the time to properly heal so this doesn't happen again. It's weird. It's weird, dude. Like, I catch myself every day. Like, well, maybe I don't need to wear my back brace and I can, nope. Like 3 steps later, I'm like, okay. There's a running joke me and Chaz have about, he's going to buy me a pair of those white New Balance, old man shoes.
Yeah. Those
like,
what I call grandpa shoes.
No, dude, I got a perfect name for him, man. Michael Jordan needs to buy the company and call them geriatric Jordans, bro. Get like a little pop-up platinum shoehorn that pops up to help you get them on and off.
Yeah.
It'll help your horizontal shuffle, stride, and everything, dude. So it's just so unique to be a veteran, man, and to be able to do stuff like what we're doing here. Like I said, great therapy. Awesome therapy. We talk stuff out, and next thing you know, it's like an hour later, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, we have been going for an hour. Holy cow.
Have we?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that, dude.
Yeah. Like you started talking about it. I looked up at the time. Like, we have been going for an hour. I don't have a time limit. I don't care how long we go.
Oh, man, I'm good, man.
Yeah, that's me. Like, but yeah, you're right though. Like, it's when you can get to the state of where you can just take a step back and really focus on yourself and understand what really helps you every single day. Cause I really love that it's always day one, right? Like I love that because you're right. Because if you don't think that way, you start getting into mundane routine,
Yep.
right? And you don't, and you start taking the little things for granted again, because I know that was a lot being active duty. There's a lot of things we took for granted. I know I took a lot of things for granted. And when during that transition is those things get highlighted really quickly on the things that you took for granted when active duty. And it's not in a good light either, how they get highlighted, you know? And,
Yeah.
and I love that. Like every day's day one. I think that's a great way to live. And that's part of the self-care is like, hey, look, it's like, I got to wake up today. It's a new day, you know? But where do we start from here? Where do I start my day, or where do I start my life from here? How do I make today better than yesterday? Right? Like, once we can start getting, I think, into that mindset, like you said, the sky's the limit. Like, it's like opportunity and capability truly become limitless at that point when you can start doing that. And it's a journey to get that, because I'm not fully there, you know. Um, I try to be like that on a daily basis, but there are definitely times I'm like, man, like today sucked. I don't want to, or I'll wake up the next day and be like, man, I really don't want to get out of bed today, you know. And I hit the snooze button a couple of times. Worst thing I could ever do is hit the snooze button a couple of times. Don't ever do
Yep.
that, by the way, if you're listening. Don't ever hit the snooze button. Worst idea. And I don't ever take my own advice on this one, because it seems like I do this ever so often. About every other week, I'll hit the snooze button, and I feel horrible when I get up. When I finally decide to get out of bed, I feel horrible. Um, but again, that's part of me being able to step back and assess my own self and realize what things do to me and how it affects me on a daily basis. Right. Um, I I think that's one of that that actually was probably one of the hardest things for me in my journey. I don't know about you and a couple other folks I've talked to, like that was one of the big things for them, was being able to, in a way, take a look at into the mirror and really do a
Mhm.
true self-assessment. Drown out what everybody else has said about you, what you like if you went to therapy, take all that away, be able to remove that. What do you see in yourself and what things affect you negatively, what things affect you positively, and actually be able to identify them. That was the hardest part for me. And then
Mhm.
like that's where like my journaling and stuff really came into play for me is because instead of just trying to think about it, like I put it back, I put it down, put my words on paper, put my thoughts on paper. And then I could actually just sit there and truly reflect on how I felt in the moment, you know. Um, that may not work for everybody, but that was one thing that helped me kind of start that healing or start that journey of being able to really do some real self-care and kind of identifying those things.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. It's my way of doing that, what you were talking about there is if I'm having like a tough spot with something, since we started this journey of the podcast, is we've met so many people. I'm like, man, I'm having a day where like mentally I'm just not there. Oh, I know someone. I'm just gonna talk to him a couple chit chats back and forth on the text
yeah.
stream machine, and I'm right back at it, man. Um, we don't allow ourselves to be vulnerable,
Yes. I
and
would
that is
agree
a
with that
huge,
100%.
yeah, that is a huge boo boo on us. And we're not to blame, completely, because the military is not about vulnerability. It's you have
Right.
to be at peak readiness at all times. You're going to spend 8 to 12 hours at your job. Then you're going to take care of your troops.
Yep.
Oh, and then you're going to have to probably take care of some of your troops, boo boo troops.
Yep.
Oh, and this kid, his car is not registered and he has no insurance. Old boy over here just popped hot on a piss test. Oh,
Yep.
by the way, this guy like just beat his wife. Like, what's going on? Oh, and then you need to do your volunteering.
Yep.
Oh, and then your self improvement, professional improvement, and education.
Yep.
Like, so we suck it all in. Okay, this is for the whole mission. Well, we as veterans are our mission now. Like,
Yeah.
where like, at what point in our service I've often wondered this since October 17th. At what point do we sit back and go, everything I did in the military is what I need to recreate and do as a civilian? Like I went right back. My first job was right back into the headquarters side as a civilian. What I was
Yeah.
doing when I was in a uniform, I was loading planes, packing parachutes, running some troop stuff, and all that. My very first job when I joined the workforce again was working and helping do regulation stuff for that job. And
Yeah.
then my second job was same thing. I got hired by Deloitte because of what I did. Like this is, and I'm not even going to call what we do now. It's not a job to me.
No.
It's a privilege, but it's not a job. And somewhere along the lines, we go, well, the military's always taking care of me. If I veer outside those lines, but that's a catch 22 because then you've
Yeah.
got the guys who went to North Dakota or a community like I was talking to someone today. He got out and was in Philadelphia. No veteran like presence there whatsoever.
Really.
None at all. He said that he was like the one. And the problem with that is we do feel isolated. But how did you and I meet? On
Yeah.
LinkedIn. And
Yep.
it was random, dude. Like I'm talking serendipity all over the place, dude.
Yeah.
Um, it's just like, oh, John Cole, he's a podcast. I don't know who connected first, and that's beginning to be blurry for me with everyone. Like, who found who, and all that. And like veterans, it's weird. Like our network is. I mean, I bet if we named 6 people, you and I wouldn't know at least probably one of them or someone that went to school with them. Was it
Yeah.
that 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Yep.
The military, it's like 2 degrees later, like, oh yeah, oh so and so, yeah, I was stationed with him and
Yep.
in Hawaii, and we ended up going into the ocean fully clothed, and like it's just weird, man, but it's a great thing.
It
And I
is,
think we
man.
miss that a lot too, like the shenanigans.
Yes.
It structures you that okay, I messed up. I'm gonna do my time. I'm gonna do my extra duty or whatever. I'm gonna get my slap on the wrist, and we carry that with us like, oh my god, all the military stuff, I have to recreate it. And well, you don't. Take it with you. Celebrate your service. Wear the OIF hat, the big
Yeah.
billboard hat with the
Yep.
ribbon racks on them. Get the sticker for the back of your truck. And you know what? If people don't, oh man, look at him, he thinks he's cool being Air Force retired. Yeah, yeah, I am. I'm not rubbing it in your face. It's who I am.
Yeah.
It's a part of me. It always will be. But Sergeant Hearen is no more. The same way CW2 Cole is no more.
Yep.
I bet he was a great dude because I know Sergeant Hearen was a great dude. So I'm willing to bet CW2 Cole was awesome. But I know Jon.
Yep.
John's a cool dude, man. You know Ira. You probably think I'm cool too. I'll just say it.
You are a
So
cool dude. I'm not gonna lie, man.
you're pretty all right yourself. And got the vet network. We've just got to learn to reach out and be vulnerable because
Yeah.
I get it why we're not vulnerable again with the outside doctors, right? Like if I tell you, like, hey, just tell me how you feel. Like, do you really want to know? Like, have you dealt with military before? Oh yes,
Yeah.
I've seen and heard it all. Like,
Okay.
okay, just remember you asked for it. But where I've hung out with like special operators. I've hung out with Marines and Air Force and all those. And yeah, there's differences in MOSs and career fields and ranks. But when you meet a veteran, it's like, oh yeah, were you Air Force? No, man, I was Navy. I did this. Like, oh, cool, man. Like, what'd you do? And like, we're all part of that brother and sisterhood,
Yeah.
and we're more vulnerable with our own kind. And all it takes is just a quick text message. All these platforms we have to talk to folks,
Yeah.
and yet some of us choose to isolate because we feel the way we do. And 22 a day is a real thing.
It is.
And there's organizations out there that are working that problem. But at what point are we going to say, hey, the foundation's not doing it anymore? Let me pick up the phone and call Jimmy
Yeah.
just to make sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you bring up a good point, man. Like, I love that you call it a tribe because I still think of tribe as well. Like that's you have to find your tribe, stay connected with your tribe because that's what we learn and how what was instilled of us when we were active duty. Like you are a tribe, you are a very close knit
Mhm.
community. You depend on that man or woman to your left or to your right to make sure that you stay alive. You have to make sure they stay alive. Like there's a lot of things that bring us all together and when we get out, we don't have that anymore directly in front of us, right?
Mhm.
Um, and and you're right because, like you said, like with you guys' podcast and with my podcast, like that network, that's how we take that, create that network or extend that network out. Because yeah, I think we met on like LinkedIn, and it was right after I decided to officially announce my relaunch of my of the podcast, and I posted on Facebook and I posted on LinkedIn that I was looking for guests and or whatever. And
That's what it was, man.
just yeah, and it was the first time I've ever really like published like a public anything on like LinkedIn. Is most time I would just post something to go to like to my network on LinkedIn. Is my first like
Mhm.
public release on me LinkedIn. And you were like one of the first ones that like commented on it. And we instantly kicked it off. And yeah, man, like finding that tribe and not feeling shameful for reaching out, but that also
Mhm.
goes on not just the ones that seek assistance or need to seek assistance or need to talk to somebody. It's on us to always check in on each other as well. Because if I know I'm gonna think twice or a little while before I'm gonna ask for help. I guarantee you, there's somebody else in my circle that's having the same
Yep.
feelings. Um,
Probably worse.
yeah, exactly. Um,
Yep.
Me and some of the guys I was with the infantry battalion when we deployed to Afghanistan. Like we do fantasy football every year. Like that's how we stay connected. We have a group chat, like a text group chat, and we just
Mhm.
we just talk shit back and forth to each other through pretty much year round. But really, when it comes to football season, because we do fantasy football, that keeps us connected. That's one way we
Yep.
stay connected. They're all over the place. Um,
I got the same thing. My buddy Tom, he's Army. Like, he did stuff he can't talk about,
yeah,
and here I am, the guy who loads planes. Well, we met at Scott Air Force Base because we were both stationed here, and like ever since then, it's like, hey, we're gonna do fantasy football, and then did you watch WrestleMania? And what do you think about the new whatever going on? Um, and it's great. So have you ever heard like or seen the memes that are out there about, you know, Air Force and Marine Corps, right? I can call you a crayon eating whatever, and you can be like, oh, it's Air Force guy. But the minute a civilian comes in, it's like, hey, what do you call him a crayon eater for? Like, well, he's about to, whoop your ass. You might want to be careful of that because you're a civilian
Yep.
and you don't understand. Like, I
Yeah.
actually saw that play out in real time when I was in E3
Oh, really?
in Guam. There was a huge joint service exercise going on. And I don't know how this civilian got onto the base. He was with one of his active duty buddies or something. And we're all sitting around and we're in the billiards room of the E Club. And, of course, we're all, throwing jabs and darts at each other. And I think someone did shoot a dart at someone at one point. I'm not sure. It was one of
Sounds about
those
right.
nights. It
Sounds about
was
right.
one of those nights at the E Club when all four of the service branches were together.
Yeah.
So everyone's trying to outdrink and outsmoke everyone. Is great. So we're all throwing these jibes back and forth and everything. And the civilian guy, and I can't remember what he said, but dude, it like stopped everyone from talking in the middle of that. And like this guy who ended up being a full bird colonel, he kind of comes out of the crowd and he goes, "Are you military?" He goes, "No, I'm civilian." He goes, the full bird colonel looks dead in the eye and goes, "I think you need to leave. You're really not welcome here right now." And it was like, oh, damn. Well, he's not a part of the fraternity, so someone
Yeah.
can he get a ride to the gate at least? Like, so I've actually seen that play out in real time. And to that point, as veterans, like it's that brotherhood sisterhood thing that we've got going on. That really we're like our own best therapy.
We are.
We really are. If we could sit around a campfire, and bullshit and roast marshmallows for a living, dude, every single one of us would be qualified and we would never run out of shit to talk about, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, dude, you're absolutely right, man. Like that's I- if you start isolating, like I think that's when a lot of times you can really tell when somebody's getting to a much darker spot when they start isolating because that's our first reaction to
Mm-hmm.
what I would consider self preservation, so to speak. But it really doesn't preserve anything. It's the worst thing that you can do because you're right. It's being around like that was some of the best times I ever had is when there's a group of Marines and we were just hanging out in the shittiest conditions, whether it be in the desert of 29 Palms, California, in the field,
Oh,
or
I'm from that area, so yeah, I feel your pain, dude. It's
yeah.
like,
So, but you're all embracing the suck together. You're
mhm.
out in the smoke pit, like just bullshit and telling stories. Just joking about how shitty it is and how cold it is. January in the
Mhm.
desert's cold, everybody. Just in case you didn't know that, it gets
Negative
cold.
26, negative
Yeah,
26 degrees with the wind chill in Kandahar, Afghanistan.
yeah,
And I'm driving against the wind. And I've got the big, like, bunny fur lined park. I look like Kenny from South Park and I have my goggles on. And it was disgusting. It was so cold. It was just like, and our heaters were broken because it was the first wave in,
yeah,
had brought these heaters and air conditioners. Well, the filters couldn't handle the sand that much. And but like you said, we were all we had our little hooch built up in the back with a
yeah.
pot-bellied stove. We kind of embraced the suck. But why don't we embrace the suck when we're veterans? When we say, John, dude, I'm having a bad day. You want to talk about it? Yeah, cool, man.
Okay.
And you could do that to me. I could do that to you or Chaz or whoever else. But you're right, man. Those were the coolest bonds ever, dude. Deployed.
Yeah.
And I did 3 tours in Korea, so when you do that, you pretty much know everyone in your career field by that point. But God, I remember we actually, I think we were the founding fathers of cornhole when we were in
Ah,
Afghanistan in '03. Uh,
okay.
Iraq had popped off, and a lot of the airlift was going from Frankfurt and Ramstein
Right.
was going into Iraq, just pouring in. So we were kind of like, we'd get a rations and a mail run like once or twice a week, and just like you were literally walking 50 yards from your tent where you slept to the tent where you worked. Like, this is my day off. What are you doing? I'm gonna do laundry and go to work. Cool. So we got so bored during that 3-week period where we had no airlift going on.
Yeah.
Um, a cone had gotten knocked over by one of the outhouses, and there was a bet made. Like, I mean, you can't make this rock get into that hole. Like a week
Yep.
later, we had like a league. We had standings we had like a whole scoring system going on,
Yeah.
and it was like trash was being talked. It was fucking epic. You know, you're just sitting around smoking in the gravel pit, throwing rocks at road cones that you tactically acquired from somewhere else because we needed our road cones. You can't use ours,
Yep.
but I know a guy who's got some that no one's paying attention to. Um, so yeah, I think we invented cornhole, that team I was on, and then in Iraq it was the same thing. Korea, like anywhere you go, it's just awesome. And but when you find that new tribe on the other side as a veteran, same thing, man. If we're sitting on my back porch and drinking our frescas, and all of a sudden it's like, man, dude, like it's kind of quiet here. Next thing you know, we're gonna have some Waylon Jennings going or
Yeah.
some, whoever else, and that's when the good times are gonna start to happen, dude. We're gonna create a game because, hey, man, I bet you can't throw this pin and make it land in the ceiling tile up there. Booker, I bet you I can.
Yep.
Next thing you know, we're gonna have a scoring system and like all kinds of things going on. We're gonna have rule sets.
Then we're gonna find a little spot on the ceiling and like who can get the closest or hit it in the middle. Yep. Oh,
Let's pretend that's the bullseye, and this
Yep.
ring around, these ring of tiles is the triple score and all that stuff. It's a very unique way to look at life as a veteran.
It is.
We get together, dude. We're just gonna rock out, and we're gonna, if we still drink, we're gonna have probably one too many. Guarantee you that's gonna be the case.
Yep.
And if we don't drink, man, you're gonna be the DD. Cool, man. But when you're ready to go, I'm gonna be gone. So you be ready to go when I'm ready to go.
Yep.
And they'll understand. Like being the DD for a veteran is easy. It's like, hey, man, I'm ready to leave. Cool.
Sweet. Let's go.
Slam their beer, put it down, and like, I got a civilian buddy. It's like, hey, man, I gotta go, and he's like, oh man, can I just have one more? No, you can't. I just up and left him, dude. I was like, I don't know what happened to him, but he's probably still wandering around downtown in Germany. That was 8 years ago, so hopefully he found his way home. But yeah, being a veteran is like the coolest job on the planet. It really is.
Yeah, man. Like, like you. I don't know why. Like, I found myself doing the same thing, and I still can't put into words why or explain why. But like, you have that kind of tribe or that community when you're in, people that you cling to and kind of lean on, right? When you're in, but as soon as you transition out, for some reason, we don't try to find it, or we see something like that and we don't want to be, I guess, like that poster boy veteran who's like, you know what I mean? Like, again, I don't really know how to explain like why, because I know I did that. I was like, yeah, like that's like I tried to completely transition. Like when I got out, it's like that chapter of my life is behind me. I need to move forward, and that's kind of that looking at it was the worst decision I ever made was to try to do that, you know. When I finally decided to find that tribe and actively talk to people on a regular basis, like I said, like my phone's getting blown up right now from my group chat, the guys that I play fantasy football with, and we just talk shit to each other. Like we make memes, like there's like we make memes, and like we got this one guy, he's a professional meme maker. Like he'll take any meme and then somehow like from our Facebook like profiles, he'll crop one of our faces into the meme. Like dude, yeah. So
look,
like
this is John right here, guys. Look at him. Like,
yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it is. So like it's finding that, and I think again, I don't know, we have to, because if we don't support each other, nobody else is going to.
No, we're I'll say it. We are a product of a puppy mill.
Oh, 100%.
Yep. And unfortunately, that's the way it has to be because their metrics and their funding and all that stuff. And I get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, what are you doing at your level to make sure when I transition out, I'm not isolating, I'm not doing this? Like the military way of getting out is here's a 3-day class. We're going to teach you how to write a subpar resume.
Yep.
How to do a half-assed interview. The VA lady who taught mine, she taught me how to spell VA. That was about it.
Yeah.
But that was it. There's no, hey, when you get out, you're going to have to buy a suit. Dude, I owned 2 suits, man, when I got out. Black and tan, funerals and weddings, and that was it.
Yeah.
I get hired into corporate America, I'm like scavenging at Kohl's to find a long sleeve shirt to cover up all the tattoos and
Yeah.
look professional by their definition. Like,
Yeah.
damn it, that sucks. We don't talk about that when we're in. Like when we
No.
transition out, and you said that, when you get that 214, or when you sign out at your last duty station and you take that long last walk in your uniform away from the personnel office, like you expect there to be confetti and balloons
Yeah.
and like a circus of animals walking by, and it's just like you sign your name and they're like, all right, cool. Oh, am I done? Like that was
Yeah.
literally what my reaction was. Like, so what else? And the guy's like, we have a
That's
soda fund like
it.
over here. I'm like, oh, went, took off my uniform, and that was that, man. There was no
Yeah.
fanfare. I'd already had my retirement ceremony about a month prior, but even then it was like, it's not going to be a thing. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to love it. No, no. 3 weeks later, there I was.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right because like the week before I retired, had like for my actual retirement date, again, mine was a little bit different circumstances with the med board and kind
Mm-hmm.
of is a very much quicker process for me when like from the time I got approved for my retirement to my actual retirement is very compressed and condensed timeline, but kind of the same thing. It's like I go from 1 week bullshitting, having a good time in the office with the guys I work with to having my retirement ceremony. Great turnout. I kept it small because I didn't want anything super big or like that. Didn't need any of
Mm-hmm.
that. I had the people that mattered the most that came to my retirement ceremony, and then that following week, it's like you really you start to realize that you're just the number and a cog in the wheel, right? Like that's all
Mm-hmm.
you are, and you and I think that was the hardest thing for me to realize
Yeah. Yeah.
during the
They move.
transition.
Yeah. They move you from one machine in the military to another as a veteran, and
Yeah.
there's no prep work
No.
unless you like what we do nowadays. We've got to start targeting those that are getting ready to get out because
Yeah.
they are going to get knee deep in it like we did, and we're right back to square one.
No,
Um,
I agree. 'Cause
mhm,
I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, yeah, it's like a 3-day class, go through TRS, TAPS, whatever you wanna call it. Depends on when you got out, it's what you call it now these days, right? But it like you said, it taught me how to write a subpar resume that woulda
mhm,
got me an okay contracting job working for the DOD, right?
mhm,
Um, and I think you mentioned it earlier too, like when we first started talking is like you get all these people are like, "Oh, you're gonna have so many opportunities, and you're gonna be able to go do this, and you're gonna get paid so
mhm,
much money when you get out, when you go do this." And but when you actually start to look, it's like I only got like 1 or 2 interviews, and I'm not even sure if I'm gonna get hired at them,
mhm.
you know?
Yep.
And and I think that in itself starts to at least for me, it started making me second guess all the success I had during my career.
Mhm. Yep.
It's like, am I really as good as I thought I was because of how successful I was in the military? Can I make it outside the military? If I can't, then what? Right? Like that's kind of the spiral that kind of starts happening. And at least it did for me. And I feel it probably happens for a lot of folks.
Mhm. Oh
Um,
yeah. There's two lost demographics that we talk about on our show, and it's those guys. And we're not allowed to say. There's a couple words we're not allowed to say on Bravo Mission Radio.
okay.
You can never say I just did four, and you can never say I only serve you. Just and only are not to be used in that context on the show, right? So
Yeah.
one of our lost demographics is that group of folks that they went in, they did their 4 years, they sharply saluted, and they rolled out, went to college or whatever.
Yeah.
Then you got the folks who got out at 10, and they're kind of ashamed to tell. I only did the 10, and was almost, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to. It's like, dude, why are you? Do not minimize your service ever.
Yeah. I
You
agree.
serve your 4 or your 40. You're allowed to kick back and be a civilian and enjoy your veteranship, for lack
Yep.
of a better word. And then the other lost demographic that I'm starting to realize is out there a lot is like you were med boarded, right? Like
Yeah.
how many years before you hit 20 did you have to get out?
I was at 6. So when I finally, like, my actual official retirement date, I was just shy of 16 years.
All right, so I'm going to flip the script, and I'm not going to take over your show, but I'm going to flip the script real quick.
Okay.
Do you feel you left behind 3.5 years of something you should have still been a part of, but
100%.
you had to get out not on your own terms?
100%.
Yeah,
Like it.
your mission wasn't complete, however we want to frame it, right?
Yep. 100%.
Yep. So for me, I did reach the 20, but my back and my knees were in such bad condition, it was like you can't.
Yeah.
So I got out at 20. I was going to ride E7 all the way to 24, man. Like I like free money. I like
Yeah.
the free health. I was like, I'll just stay in E7 and chill and hang with the Joes in the trenches.
Yeah.
Nope, gotta get out at 20. So, but it wasn't as bad for me as for you probably, because I was like, fine, I'll get out. I did my 20. I'm in a great spot and cool. I rolled out. I got a buddy of mine. He was in for 9.5, 10 years. And he's part of that demographic that
Yeah.
he wanted to pull the full 20 because he enjoyed what he was doing. Nope, you're busted. You got to go. And like to this day, he's like, there's stuff I should still be doing, because he'd still be in. He's like,
Yeah.
I should still be doing XYZ. Like I did not get to finish that. And so those are our two lost demographics that need a lot of attention. And when we talk about minimizing service, it's not to say you can't say I just did or I only did. It's in the minds of America. Who do you think about when you watch a movie about the military, right?
Oh yeah. Like
Like you
most
no
civilians,
disrespect, right?
Yeah, I would think most civilians. If I just say military or
Mhm.
operational, you think of the high speed, low drag, running in and gunning, right? Like that's
Mhm.
normally what you think of. In my opinion, that's what a civilian would think.
Oh no, that's you nailed that one right there, because it's glorified.
It
Hollywood
is.
can make a dime off of it. So how
Absolutely.
many books are out there and how many movies and whatnot? So we do that to ourselves by saying, well, all I did was load cargo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, what Sergeant Hearen did for 20 years was as my friend Wayne Donnelly out there, if you're listening, shout out to you. He called it pushing freedom.
Okay.
We're out there on the flight line, we're pushing freedom. Like, so that's what I did, dude. I'm that guy who thumps his chest and said, yeah, I don't care if you were a spec operator or if you were a pilot or whatever. What I did was the reason the military was successful. You know, like
Yeah.
you said, I was the linchpin on my eval. Now that I'm acting like it, you don't want me to? Like, come
Yeah.
on, man.
Yeah.
So I think we should write a book of the average Joe
Oh
and
yeah.
see if Hollywood picks it up. Like just like 20 stories of just the average guy. Like, what'd you do?
Oh,
Oh, I
dude.
loaded some planes and I was a supply guy.
So it's
And one
funny you
day,
say that. Like some of you and my buddies, like we were joking, like just kind of bullshitting around, and we were like, "Man, we should start like recording a TV show like The Office, but like the everyday Marine, right? Like
mm-hmm,
not the one that you see like in all the movies or anything like high speed, but just like the everyday bullshit going in, inventorying gear, cleaning gear, going out to the smoke pit,
mm-hmm.
going to chow, like just the everyday mundane stuff. But like be like watching an episode of The Office, but like military.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And we function on movie quotes, right?
Yeah.
Like we focused on
Yes.
that was one of our smoke pit topics on our show, and it was like, dude, we could probably have a whole conversation in nothing but movie quotes, and people on the outside would be like, what are they talking about? It's like,
Yeah.
look, dude, I spent 6 months or 18 months over somewhere where we had like 3 DVDs, and that was it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know the insides and outs of let's see, the movie Life, Coming to America. Big Eddie Murphy fan, by the way.
Oh, yeah, same.
The movie Life, Coming to America, and Norbit. Those three movies, Chaz and I can have entire conversations using nothing but those three movies and Cat Williams,
Dude, that's
and we
awesome.
will know exactly what we're thinking and saying the whole time. And people on the outside are like, you guys like what's going on here? Like, and it's God, dude. Like I said, man, being a veteran it's a cool privilege. And I think, fuck it, dude. Let's write a book, man.
Yeah.
We'll call it The Average Joe, and
Oh, dude, I
what'd you
like
do?
it.
What did you do? I was IT.
Yeah.
That's it. I was it. A buddy of mine who was calm in Ramstein, he actually said the reason it's spelled IT is because we're it when you need it. I'm like, dude, last time I called, you asked me if I turned it off and turned it back on. Like,
It's like an episode of the
yes,
IT Crowd.
yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, why not write a book about the average Joe and like, hey man, we could probably make hundreds of dollars off of it.
Yeah, hundreds of dollars. I like that. I mean, hey, because my thing is, you're right. Because what most people think of when they think of the military is, like you said, the Hollywood style of what
Mm,
military is, and that's actually a very low percentage of
10%.
actual service members,
I
right?
think it's 10% of the military members do that.
Yeah, and they have the thing is though, they can't do those things by themselves. They have support elements also, right?
Mhm.
Like, and that's not to downplay any of the stuff that the special operations do or anything like that. Like, that's
Oh,
not
by no means.
downplaying, right? Like, by any means. I wouldn't want to be that guy that's always kicking in doors and snatching folks up in the middle of the night. I don't want to do that. It's the reason I didn't do that. It's the reason I didn't do those things. But you're right, though, because when people, like you said, it's like when people think of, oh, you were a Marine or you were in the military, oh, you must have seen all this kind of stuff. Like, actually, no, like, yeah, did we see stuff? Yeah, sure. But it wasn't like what you think it was. Like, most of the time, like, that was a lot of times, like, my deployments were a very, I wouldn't say small, but I was deployed at some point for 3 years straight.
Mm,
But again, so, like, 2008, I was in Iraq, went to Afghanistan in 2009, came back from Afghanistan in 2010, so that's, like, literally 3 straight years in a row. I was in 2 different theaters. Um, yeah, like, but again, that's a very small time frame. That's only, like, the first quarter of what my career turned out to be.
mhm.
There's a lot of other things in between that time where those things didn't they weren't like it wasn't like that, you
Yeah.
know?
It's
That
mainly just going to medical appointments and every once in a while finance and every once in a while you do
Yeah,
your job and
yeah,
hang out in the smoke pit,
yeah,
like it's pretty much what like the other 90%, like you said, that support function.
yeah,
We got to start thumping our chests about what we did a
yeah.
lot more.
Yeah, because
Um,
'cause you're right, like, I now that you said something, like, I could definitely look back and I've said, "Well, I only did 16 years," right? Because again, I had to get out early, it wasn't my decision, so I downplayed my length of service because of the conditions I had to
mhm,
get out in. I downplayed what my job was some because again, I only did net IT, I only did networking. But again, like thinking about it, that's a very big crucial piece. Like communications is a crucial piece in military operations,
mhm,
just like logistics, regardless of what area of logistics, is a very crucial piece in military operations. And I, I don't think veterans hear that enough about those types of things because
mm,
I think that ties back into some of the other things when we were talking about like some of the organizations out there, they only look for the high vis and very high optic like scenarios to picture with their organizations. A lot of us get kind of left in the backdrop and don't really get the help we need because of
yeah,
that, I think.
yeah.
Um,
When we talk about the glamorization of one part and then the average, and movies, I'm gonna put this all in a blender. Remember the movie Dodgeball? You
yes.
had what was it, Globo Gym? That's like those high end
Yeah.
performers of the military, and then the average
Yep.
Joes, but they still won the dodgeball contest.
Yep.
To me, that like, and I just thought that, so I'm gonna write that down. Actually, I'll just watch the recording.
I
But
mean,
we never said we were just loading planes, and
yeah.
I lucked out and had a very great group of senior NCOs when I reached that echelon in my career
Yeah.
that were like, hey, you do not say we are like FedEx. Do not say we are like Delta Airlines. We do a lot more than just load cargo and move passengers. Great chief of mine, Rob Bolton, if he's out there listening, he said that once, and like ever since then, dude, that changed my perspective a lot more. Of like, no, we're not FedEx. We're not just your local Kinkos who's going to print out a bunch of stuff because you're in the IT field. And like, no, when the shit hits the fan, who do you think puts the cargo on the plane, or
Yeah.
who do you think does the satellite, Starlink, whatever IT stuff you guys do? Like it's not the operator. Why? Because he's busy taking care of his own business to ready. Like
Yeah.
I worked a mission one time. We were worried about lithium batteries in a computer, and I'm like, did you see the bazooka that's just like rolling around in the cab of that truck over there?
Yep.
Yeah, but these computer batteries. I'm like, look, dude, these guys are going to get off of this jet and literally shoot someone in the face with that bazooka. You're not worried about.
Yeah.
I don't think the laptop batteries are like a huge concern right now.
Yeah.
Like they're just handling their own stuff, and that was actually very well received by the guy who was giving me shit about it. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, oh, I guess you're right." I'm like, "That's right." Like,
Yeah.
so it was fun, dude. Like the whole 20 years I did, uh, some bad days for sure, but a lot of them were just full of being a part of something big, and the stereotype I was part of something big and all that stuff, which should be
Yeah.
celebrated, but celebrating the aftermath of that when you roll out, celebrating being a veteran,
Yeah.
celebrating your service and not trying to relive it. Um, there's no right way, there's no wrong way to deal with it. So long as you're doing it. Fire and forget is horrible with veterans. We tried
Yes.
VA one time, didn't work out. I went to a couple sessions. Oh man, it doesn't work. Not going. I went to medical for this. They said it's this and this and not this. Well, I quit going back. We've got to reprogram ourselves and rewire. And we're built for service.
Yes.
So why not, instead of going to be some high up executive and be miserable doing it, like if you're just working to pay the car note, and don't get me wrong, if you've got bills to pay and you've got to do what you got to do, cool. But there's other avenues that you can still live that lifestyle as a veteran, and not try to relive your time as a GI. I hope that made sense. I just kind of came off the top rope with that one, but
Yeah, no,
um,
I mean, it made sense to me, right? Because like, let's unpack that a little bit because I think it ties really good into like what you had a senior NCO tell you about. You're not just airlift, right? Like you're not just a
mhm,
FedEx for the military, but like I think we have. I think that's part of our responsibility of helping grow the tribe of veteran community. I think
mhm,
that's something that we need to start capturing, I think, a lot more. We're not just veterans. We didn't just do 4 years, right? Like, 'cause a lot of us were like, "Oh, yeah, we're veterans," like, no big deal because, like, yep, like, it is a big
yeah,
deal. You're right, it is a big deal. Like, you
yep,
doesn't matter if you were 2, 4 years, 20 years, 30 years, or 40 years. It doesn't matter. Like, your service mattered to your
mhm,
country, and it is a big deal. It wasn't just this. You weren't just in the Air Force. You weren't just a Marine. You didn't just do 10 years or whatever. Like it's a big deal. And I think 'cause there's a difference from being proud of your service and then being arrogant about your service.
oh yeah, that pride and that ego that some of the veterans have, and you're like,
Yeah.
dude, the day's gonna come when someone at the
Yes.
VFW is not gonna want to hear your bullshit anymore.
Yeah.
Those are
Um
few and far between, I've found, actually, though.
it,
Like
it,
very few and far between out there in the vet community right now.
and I've started to realize that too. Like there's not a lot of them, at least anymore. I feel like over the last 4 to 5 years, two things have happened. One, the egotistical veteran isn't as vocal maybe as what it is about
Mhm,
those types of things, but what I've also noticed there's been a shift. There's a lot more veterans like myself and like you that are willing and pushing to be more open and vocal about things, right? And to be honest with ourselves and really connect into the veteran community and try to grow that better. Like I could definitely like in the last couple of years, like that's expanded tremendously over the last few years.
mhm. Well, you're an IT guy, so you'll get this. We are the first generation of veterans that has all of this technology that we can actually take care of ourselves better than the systems that were created for us.
Yeah.
We can create a system for ourselves by ourselves. I mean, literally, like I go through the VA. Yes, I go through them. They do great things for me. I've not had a really bad experience with the VA, but I've also heard the horror stories. I've never had a problem with my TRICARE for retirees, and I've never had problems with this, that, and the other. But a lot of people do.
Yeah.
So we are at the forefront of a generation of veteran that can really reach out to people. So do you realize Vietnam was one of the first, in conjunction with Korea before that, first wars where GIs did not come home together all the way? So
I
if
did
you think
not.
about like World War I and World War II, the troop ships, right? The Liberty ships or whatever
Yeah.
they called them back then.
Yeah.
Like, so your buddy that you were with in, downtown Paris when you got liberated, like whatever is left of your platoon is all shipping back on the same ship. So you've got 3 weeks to process
Yeah.
and to get some of that poison out before you got home. Now, there was a lot of involved in their aftermath that was unresolved because it was considered, what was it back then, a shell shock, right?
Yep.
Um, yeah. Starting in Korea and Vietnam, we started going to like a major processing point and getting on individual flights or
Oh,
individual cruise ships or individual trains, right? We didn't travel back home with our folks. And even nowadays we do. Like my whole aerial port team would fly in and we'd fly out together. But it was one flight, maybe two,
yeah.
and then you were gone to the wind. Like you took your 2 weeks R&R, you didn't talk to anyone. We don't get that time to decompress after the fact for 3 or 4 weeks like our predecessors did.
Yeah.
So we kind of owe it to them to take advantage of all this technology and all this or outreach potential we have for you and I and all the other folks that are helping the tribe get through this. We've got a right and a responsibility to be at the forefront of this. I don't want to create something cheesy, but I'll say veteran revolution or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
So we owe it. We owe it to our dudes that were in Iwo Jima. Little shout out there for you for the Marines. We owe it to our folks that were the Vietnam vets, dude, that came back. And I'm not going to get political, but they did them dirty.
Yes.
And so we owe it to them to take care of our veterans that are coming up. And we're going to have, guess what? Based on the actions of last week, we're going to have a whole new crop of veterans coming up that if we don't do it now, so now it's starting to sound like a call to arms, right? Seriously, if we don't do it now, it's not going to be done the right way because the system's going to try and fix it the same way they have everything else.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And I think you hit a key piece there is like when the system that's been put in place tries to fix it, it actually doesn't fix anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
It because the system is a check in the box. It's predefined milestones to what they say success looks like, but it's success is individual. Like my
Mm-hmm.
success for transition and your success for transition are completely different tracks, right? And it's hard to do that on mass scale, but there still needs to be flexibility for that, and I
Mm-hmm.
think because again, they come in like, "Oh, hey, this is what the VA is. Go do your claims." But then that's literally all they tell you about the VA for getting out. They don't tell you anything else outside of that. Um, hey, this is like if you're retiring, you get TRICARE for life. And that's really all they say. They don't tell you how to go
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that you're in Mill Connect and make sure that your dependents are transferred over and still in Deers and all this other stuff. Like they don't go through any of that. Like you kind of have to figure a lot of that stuff out on your own, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think you're right. I think it is kind of a call to arms or right or whatever you want to call it. Like it is our
Mm-hmm.
responsibility, like taking the lessons learned from the ones that came before us, the lessons learned of what we've been through, and be able to provide that back to the next generation to make them
Mm-hmm.
better for
Yep.
their post-service life, right?
And there's going to be a lot of onlys and justs that come out from those guys, right?
Oh,
Because,
100%.
well, what'd you do? Well, I was just a drone pilot, so I wasn't on the front lines. Like,
Yeah.
you still like so quick story and then I gotta go, but
Yeah, yeah.
there was an article in the Stars and Stripes, god, it was like 2010 or 11, and the guy that was the feature article, and actually I'm gonna dig through and find that one of these days. he was one of the lead morticians at Dover Air Force Base
Okay.
for mortuary affairs. And they tried saying he didn't have PTSD. Yeah,
Wow.
it was. So even in that realm, PTSD, remember PTSD used to be reserved for those who were front lines,
Yeah.
pilots, fighter pilots. You C-130 guys, well, they're going back to Frankfurt for their per diem. It was a very limited amount of PTSD, but then now all of a sudden you've got like guys like me that were dealing with human remains or,
Yeah.
So this mortician was having all the same issues as someone like from the front lines. And like, well, he was only at Dover. Well, the dude was a mortician.
Yeah.
And we're talking about some really gruesome things coming back in those transfer cases sometimes.
Yeah.
And you're wondering why he's isolated in his basement. Like, what did you think was going to happen? And so highlighting just small stuff like that, like we're allowed to have PTSD just because we did this. And so long as it's not said just because I did this, I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah.
If you tell me, hey, I was a supply clerk, but I was a supply clerk for the spec operators, and a buddy of mine that was an operator didn't come back, I'm not minimizing that, and you shouldn't either. So again, that's my soapbox, man. Like we've got to do a better job taking care of ourselves. And what we're doing, what John, Ira, my bro host Chaz, little group that we're forming up, there's so much work out there to be done. And this goes out to all the fellow veteran orgs and podcasters and everything. No one needs to compete in this space, right? Because the veteran family's strong. Case in point, remember 2 weeks ago when the VA released that little
Yes.
their little boo-boo?
Yes.
Well, when I signed that petition, it had only been out for like 15 or 20 minutes online.
Yeah.
There was already 6,000 people. I logged out and I went back in an hour later to rewrite something or to find my comment and see, and it was up to like 15,000.
Yeah.
Like we will fight to the death for our benefits from the government, but we won't do it because Jimmy's locked in his basement sometimes.
Right. Yeah. And I think you're right. I think that's a prime example of what the veteran community can do when we come together as one voice. Right. And I think you're right. There are quite a few shows out there, a lot of other podcasts and like social media, like influencers, like all pushing the same message. But we got to collaborate. We can't be isolated. Like we can't isolate ourselves. We need to come together and be the one voice and make our community better. Because if we're not doing it to make the community better, like why are we even doing it in the first place?
Oh yeah, this is not a hobby. Like for me, this is it, dude. Like I said, I burned all my boats on the beachhead, dude. Like this is it. And the group I've fallen in with, this is their purpose as well. So I think we're going to do great things.
Yeah, I think so.
Here these days. And like I said, dude, we're forming our own little coalitions and pockets of veteran support everywhere, dude. And it's someone posted up something. Would you rejoin the military if you could? And I'm like, no, I like my beard and my long hair too much. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm gonna sit this one out and let the youngsters go at it.
Yeah.
So
I do.
with that, I noticed in your questions. Oh, go ahead, man.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to say, I got two things for you before we do sign off. But go ahead.
Easy,
I'll let you finish your thought real quick.
Oh, I was going to say, maybe it's one of the things you're going to say, but you asked, in your list of questions that you would ask, what advice I would give to a veteran. Is that what you're doing? See?
Yeah.
Weird military connection with folks, man. Ladies and gentlemen, I've never met John Cole in my entire life, even though we sound like we've been friends for life. That's how vets roll.
Yep.
So, the best piece of advice I can give to a veteran is celebrate your service. Put away Sergeant Jones, put away Admiral Smith, and just be Eric. Just be Donna.
Yes.
Go back. Like if you were to ask your 18-year-old self, what do you want to be when you grow up? Would they say, I want to be working a headquarters job in a suit and tie, even though I'm really good at art? No, Like that 18-year-old would have been like, no, I hope to God I can make it through art school and all. Like,
Yeah.
my advice to veterans, just be yourself. And if you don't have a sense of self yet, you need to find a mentor. There are too many of them out there. Call up your buddy who's like, hey man, you've been out for 3 years. How did you get past this? And if you know someone's getting out, do the same thing for them. Just be a human. We've earned the right and the privilege to enjoy our peace and quiet and make sure that other veterans get the same exact opportunity.
Yes.
So
Agreed.
I don't know what your second question was, but I kind of blacked out there for a second.
No, no, no. That was great because that was actually my first question I was going to ask is any advice that you would have. But no, you're right.
Oh,
Um, it's it's that self reflection and understanding you still have purpose and you can still have a mission,
mhm,
right? Um, and speaking of purpose and mission, it actually plays really good into the final kind of closing out question is
mhm.
taking everything that you've learned through your journey to now and looking back and kind of do like a retrospective really, how did that play in starting Bravo Mission Radio? Because I want to give you an
Um,
opportunity to do to really be able to promote your podcast as well, because I want to make sure that we
mm.
anybody that listens to mine hears about yours and goes to listen to yours too. 'Cause that's part of building that network.
Oh yeah, most definitely. We're going to start doing a lot more of that.
Yes.
Um, Man, from what I've dealt with to where I'm at now, was that kind of what you're going with? Like,
Yeah, and like looking back at
mhm.
that complete journey, how did that affect you when like starting or kind of get you into starting Bravo Mission Radio?
Like I said, man, it was a light switch that when I got that notice, HR meeting tomorrow, and
Yeah.
there was not even anything in the message. It was just a title and who it was from. I'm like, but after that first 30 seconds, I was like, yeah, this is where I need to be. This is what I need to be doing. And again, it was just me and my vet bro, my bro host, my co-pilot on the magic carpet ride of podcasting, Chaz, that we formed it together. Two veterans that literally were just on the phone. Him down in Florida, me up here in Illinois on the back porch. Bravo Mission Radio was born. And it was because I had a really rough time. There were some really dark patches, right? To the point where I was never suicidal and I was never going to hurt anyone else or anything like that. But there were days where I was like, why am I even getting out of bed?
Yeah.
But then there were days where I was like, I'm a veteran and go fuck yourself. Like
Yep.
no one, like I was on either one spectrum or the other. And Bravo Mission Radio has been truly a lifeline for me, and it needs to be for other people. If you don't listen to Bravo Mission Radio, cool. Find another podcast or another coach. Check out the Bunkhouse. Check out the Struggling Veteran, which is run by another veteran we're teaming up with, and just enjoy it. That's what everyone's got a Bravo mission, and if you're a veteran,
Yeah.
you're in the middle of it. I don't like the whole chapter analogies, but we're veterans. We know what missions are. Um, and I guess the second part of your question is how's it shaping moving forward a little bit. So no one knows that they have to walk alone, because if you're a veteran who has some nuggets from what you've been through and you see someone struggling, be it either on social media or at the Legion Hall or something, if you don't step up and help that guy, would you have done it on the front lines?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's so different? So our purpose with Bravo Mission Radio and Bravo Mission Personal Recon, which is our second show, spawned off the flagship of Bravo Mission Radio, our mission is just to get the word out and make sure that no veteran walks alone. We've all been through it. There's 2 layers or 3 layers to every veteran that we all share. We were
Yeah.
in the service. We served during a global war on terror. We put up with some bullshit captains who thought they were smarter than us, even because we were enlisted. We've all been there. But then you hit that 3rd, 4th, 5th layer on down, and it's like, okay, there's the difference.
Yeah.
But I'm that common ground you can come to. And we deserve that from our veteran crew. and we definitely have a responsibility to pay that forward. And that's what Bravo Mission Radio and Personal Recon is all about. Making sure if it's one veteran we reach, 100 or all of them, we don't care. So long as we reach one and stop them from potentially being a part of that 22 a day is the ultimate goal. And anything beyond that is pie in the sky, dude. Like, we want to help veterans. And someone, when I first started this venture, I had a hater who was like, "You have no vision for this." And I'm like, I explained it again. They're like, "Well, that's not a vision that the veteran needs." And I'm like, aren't you a retired veteran? Oh, you were an 06 who got out in the 80s. Never mind.
Yeah.
It was a paradigm shift, but we still did it. We're still doing it. And no veteran deserves to go what we go through, but we're going to go through it. And just sometimes it's just a cold beer and a pool table. Ask if you're solids and stripes, whatever, or a fire pit, or that one weird Thanksgiving when you took your military buddies home. I actually had that happen. My mom and my stepdad were visiting, and two of my buddies, one was going from Alaska to McGuire or Little Rock, and the other one was coming from Turkey to Colorado. And they came through. So 3 veterans sitting in the backyard, and my stepdad was a Vietnam vet. And so he joined in for a little bit, but my mom was sitting there watching some of the ways we were talking to each other and everything. And I think at one point she was like, "Are you guys like okay? You're cool with each other, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "What?" Never mind. So, beyond that, dude, just take care of your vet fam. Take care of the tribe, dude. That's our main shout out for everything from Bravo Mission Radio. Shameless plug here, Bravo Mission Radio and Bravo Mission Personal Recon. We're found on Facebook, the YouTube, Spotify. We're working into TikTok and Instagram. But again, like I said, we're building up an empire around us right now. So it's going to be amazing. It's a great journey. And Bravo Mission Radio out for now is like the true call sign, dude. We'll be back. So that's all I've got, John. Dude, I'm like I said, I think I blacked out a few times when I was rambling on there for a while.
Dude,
but
you're good, man.
Dude, this is my job, dude. This is what I do for a living now. Like,
yeah,
I'll take it, man.
yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. It has been a pleasure and an honor having you on the show, dude. Like,
I love being here, man.
Yeah, it's been really good. Like, I think we should probably do a part 2 at some point.
I'm down, dude.
Yeah,
I'm down.
Because there's definitely more that we could unpack and get into a lot more, I think, too. Like, we've been at it for 2 hours already. Like,
oh God.
yeah.
I think our first episode, when Chaz and I filmed our first episode, we quit recording. And we filmed about an hour and 20, and we started at 6. So about 7:30 we were actually done.
Yeah.
I looked up at the clock when we were finally like, "Oh, it's time to go." Our guest had her husband out on the back patio now, bullshitting with us. I think their dog was running around. Me and Chaz were just sitting there going back and forth. And I was like, it was like the best Friday night I'd had since I got out.
That's
it was just Panama City Beach, Florida, Muscoota, Illinois, and Lillington, North Carolina, all banded together and had like this cool smoke pit experience, dude. It was great, man. So yeah, we're definitely gonna do that. We're gonna have you on the show. Like I said, once we tune out of here, got some stuff to talk to you about, get you to be a part of some stuff, and then we're gonna go from there, dude. And we're gonna make sure that number 22's got to go down.
Yes, sir. I agree 100% with that.
So I'm gonna let you do your sign off thing, but like I said, folks, it's been great talking with John. Check out the Bunkhouse podcast. It's awesome. If you don't listen to the Bunkhouse, and if you don't listen to Bravo Mission Radio, you will not have anything to talk about at work on Monday, and all your friends are going to make fun of you for not listening to these shows. And with that, I'm mic dropping and I'm out.
No, again, I really appreciate it, man. It's been an honor and a pleasure talking to you. And for everybody out there listening, find your tribe, find your purpose, find your mission to continue to carry on and make the next generation better. As always, be the light in someone's dark. Thank you for listening to today's episode of The Bunkhouse. If this episode speaks to you or made you think of someone who might be struggling, please share this with them. And remember, you don't have to carry this alone. There are people who care, and there's always a next step. If you'd like to stay connected, press follow and leave a review so more veterans and their families can find these stories. You can also connect with me and find other resources by following the links in the show notes. And as always, be the light in someone's dark.